Canada launches. Shocking economic blow. Is the secret plan putting the U.S. at a disadvantage? Just 3 months after the U.S. election, over 90% of Canadians want to sever trade ties with the United States. Why has the situation escalated so dramatically? And why did one statement from Trump push Canada to prepare a full-scale economic counterattack? As Washington imposes tariffs, Canada is unplugging its economy from its long-standing U.S. foundation, pivoting its trade strategy with stunning speed. Canada's trade pivot. The Canada-EU Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, was expanded in mere months, boosting bilateral trade by 65%. Capital, technology, and resources once directed toward the U.S. are now shifting to Europe. Canada didn't stop there. Trade delegations have been dispatched across Southeast Asia, from Indonesia and Ecuador to Singapore, Australia, and Brunei. The goal is clear: increase non-U.S. exports by 50% by the end of 2025. This signals a deliberate dismantling of Canada's economic dependence on the U.S. market. Provinces take action. Canadian provinces have launched a campaign to eliminate American influence. British Columbia led the charge, banning imports of U.S. agricultural products like milk, chicken, and wine, while tightening inspections of U.S. trucks at border crossings, disrupting cross-border supply chains. Quebec struck back just as hard, freezing all infrastructure contracts with U.S. contractors. The Fabrique au Québec campaign exploded, urging citizens to buy local with direct government subsidies. Manitoba and Nova Scotia went further, mandating that hospitals, schools, and government agencies remove U.S. goods from public procurement lists. As a result, brands like Starbucks, McDonald's, and Apple are gradually disappearing from public systems. Emergency General Election, a battle for survival. On April 28, 2025, Canada held a general election at unprecedented speed, the fastest in modern history. Newly appointed Prime Minister Mark Carney declared, "We eliminated the carbon tax for consumers, small businesses, and farmers to end the division it was creating among Canadians. We are stronger together. We reversed the capital gains tax increase to encourage builders to take risks." Party leaders united against U.S. influence. Mark Carney, Liberal Party, vowed, "Canada will never, ever be part of America in any way." Pierre Poilievre, Conservative Party, despite comparisons to Trump, called annexation absurd and offensive, proposing tit-for-tat trade measures, spending cuts, and boosted domestic production. Jagmeet Singh, New Democratic Party, went further, advocating a ban on Trump attending the G7 in Alberta and halting exports of strategic minerals, threatening U.S. tech and defense sectors. Public opinion, from anger to collective action. At festivals and sports events, the U.S. national anthem is booed, and the U.S. flag is turned away. This isn't mere symbolism. It's a growing social movement. Canada is sending a clear message. It rejects a dependent role. If the U.S. wants to mend ties, pressure won't work. Respect might. A shocking national security breach. In mid-March 2024, a rare and deeply alarming incident came to light. Jeffrey Goldberg, editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, revealed he was accidentally added to a private Signal group chat used by top U.S. national security officials. 2 hours later, an airstrike campaign targeting Yemen was launched. Was this a simple misclick or the first crack in a silent national security crisis? The leaked chat Goldberg initially thought it was a prank, but the chat detailed attack timing, intelligence assessments, target locations, and specific weapons, far too precise to be fake. The group included at least 18 high-ranking officials: National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Secretary of Defense, Vice President J.D. Vance, the Director of National Intelligence, and senior National Security Council members. This wasn't just analysis. It was a real-time discussion of a pending military operation against Houthi forces in Yemen, accused of threatening Red Sea shipping. Vice President Vance argued that only 3% of global trade passes through the region, making a costly, high-risk campaign unnecessary. Others countered that inaction could signal weakness globally. At 11:44 a.m., the Secretary of Defense messaged, "The operation will begin within 2 hours," followed by classified details, bomb types, strike sequences, and precise targets. All of this was inadvertently sent to a journalist. The aftermath. At the exact time mentioned, explosions rocked Yemen. Goldberg opened Twitter to see battlefield images, smoke, bodies, destroyed buildings, matching the chat's details. Inside the group, the mood shifted to celebration. Ratcliffe wrote, "Good start," while Waltz and others responded with emojis, praying hands, American flags, flexing arms. No one noticed the journalist still present. National security attorneys warned this could violate the Espionage Act, especially with a non-government individual in the chat. Had it been an imposter or foreign operative instead of Goldberg, the consequences could have been catastrophic: leaked plans, ambushed troops, and lost lives. One of the last messages read, "We are currently clean on OPSEC, operational security." A confident claim that couldn't have been more wrong. Former Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta called it one of the most serious lapses he's witnessed, threatening mission success and the credibility of the U.S. national security apparatus. He demanded a full investigation, an explanation of who added Goldberg, and, if necessary, the removal of those responsible. The National Security Council claimed it showed effective interagency coordination, raising the question, if this is effective, what's their definition of chaos? Trump vows to buy a Tesla amid crisis. As Tesla's stock plunges, extending a 9-week losing streak since the inauguration, protests at dealerships nationwide have caught the White House's attention. The company's market value dropped from $770 billion to $635 billion, a $135 billion loss. Can Tesla recover as tariffs rise, competitors threaten, and Elon Musk's controversial statements push the company into a tough spot? Tariffs and competition. Trump's tariffs have raised production costs for Tesla, especially with parts imported from Europe and China, driving up prices for models like the Model 3 and Model Y. With inflation climbing, owning an electric vehicle is becoming harder for American families, affecting consumer choices between EVs and traditional vehicles. Meanwhile, competitors like Volkswagen, Renault, and Stellantis are investing heavily in EVs, offering affordable models with features rivaling Tesla. In Europe, local brands are outpacing Tesla, threatening its dominance. Financial decline. Tesla's stock has fallen over 53% in recent months, reflecting declining investor confidence. As large institutions pull investments, Tesla faces potential cash shortages, limiting production and raising prices further. Rising raw material costs and inflation compound the issue, making EVs less appealing compared to competitors like Volkswagen, BYD, and NIO. Canada's $10 billion trade blow Canada hit the U.S. with a 25% tariff on electricity exports, causing energy bills in key states to skyrocket by over $100 monthly. Ontario is cashing in $400,000 daily, $12 million monthly, making this one of Canada's most powerful trade moves yet. Can Trump handle the fallout? Trump's tariff legacy. It began with Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, lumber, and dairy, touted as America First. Economists warned of backfire, and it did. U.S. manufacturers faced higher costs, passing them on to consumers. Home prices rose with expensive Canadian lumber, and the dairy industry suffered as Canada retaliated. The trade war hurt Americans too. Ontario's power play. Ontario, the largest electricity supplier to the U.S., imposed a 25% tariff on exports, impacting millions in Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. Over 15% of these states' energy comes from Canada, and with no immediate alternatives, utility companies are scrambling. Meanwhile, Ontario profits handsomely. Premier Doug Ford said, "The American people didn't ask for this trade war. Trump did. Now, they're paying the price." Political backlash. Even Trump's party is turning against him. New York Governor Kathy Hochul called the tariffs reckless. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz warned of economic damage, and Michigan regulators raised grid stability concerns. Some Republicans questioned Trump's approach as businesses and voters pressure the GOP. Canada's long game. As Justin Trudeau steps down, Mark Carney emerges as a global financial heavyweight. On day one, he declared, "These tariffs stay until the U.S. commits to fair trade." Canada is expanding its energy sector, forging stronger ties with Europe and Asia to reduce U.S. reliance. If Canada no longer needs U.S. buyers, America could face higher prices and shortages ahead. New tariffs and Canada's counterattack. On April 2, 2025, the U.S. will impose a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, a heavy blow costing billions annually. Carney vowed equivalent retaliation, but with a twist. Canada's smaller economy can't match the U.S. directly. Instead, it's maximizing impact on the U.S. while minimizing domestic harm, using tariff revenue to support affected workers. This long-term strategy ensures stability and resilience against a superpower.